Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to walk you through the exact process for growing an account from 0 to 10,000 followers organically in 2019. Now, we recently did this for one of our clients, and I want to tell you a couple of things. Firstly, in order for anyone, including yourself, to grow an Instagram account, you must understand how they grow. First of all, people need to see you. You need to be visible in order for them to find you. They also need to like you, aka they need to enjoy the content that you produce. And lastly, they need to trust you, and that comes through authority, and that comes from the content that you produce. And we are going to cover all of these things. Secondly, I want to address something here. The most difficult stage of growing any Instagram account, no matter the niche, is the starting stage. It's really difficult to break out of that follow, unfollow, and really depending on your industry can determine how long that follow, unfollow cycle lasts. Now, it probably lasts forever, but you do get to a tipping point where you don't notice it anymore because the amount of people following you far outweighs the number of people unfollowing you. That being said, today we will look at not only how to increase your following, but how to keep the followers that you get. Now, one of the reasons why I am focusing solely on growing an Instagram account organically is because that's what we do for our clients. That's what I believe in, and that's what I believe builds the most engaged audience. And if you have a solid, real community, they are the ones that will eventually put money in your hand. Growing your account any other way is costly, it's inauthentic, and it won't yield you the results that you're actually after. So stick with me. I'm going to show you my 5-step process for growing an Instagram account organically from 0 to 10,000. Let's do it. So my first step for you today is all in the setup. So if you've already set up your account, then I want you to go and revisit your bio and your avatar. So let's talk about the bio. One of the things I love about Instagram is that it's searchable, and one of the things that is searchable is your username. So if you go to my account, you'll see that it says Sarah Moore Content Queen. Now, the reason that I have that in my bio is so that if people search content, I actually come up. Now, if you're a commercial electrician or you're a car insurance agent, that is the perfect thing to have in that username there. Of course, put your name because it personalizes it and makes you more approachable, but also have those keywords so that when people are searching insurance agent, commercial electrician, you're actually coming up in that search and they're able to click through and see who you are and what you're about. Now, the second thing I want to touch on is your avatar. If you can get away with it, and most brands can, don't have the logo as the avatar. Have a human being. People connect with people. People connect with eye contact, and you want to have a person there. You want to make people feel like when they come to your account, they're getting a person. They're not getting something that's just been set up for the sake of bookmarking that particular account, or they're not getting something automated. They're not getting something that's a second thought. They're getting a real person. If you can get a nice cropped in close-up of the face, smiling, eye contact as best you can, it's the best thing that you can do in that small amount of space. Now, one of the things that I do is I have this light background in my avatar picture because it reminds people of my branding, but I'm actually in it so they know they're getting a human being, because my handle is 11 Lights Media, not Sarah Moore. So when they see my name, it can be a little bit like, oh, is this just, you know, no one's ever going to reply to me, no one's ever going to speak to me, but then they see my face and they actually go in and see my name as the username, allows them to know that a real person is running it. And I want the same for you, because chances are if people are going to follow you, your attention's going to be higher and they're more likely to engage, especially if you're using something like stories when there's an avatar, a face, involved with your avatar. All right, so we've done step 1. The second part of my 5-step process is all about content. What the heck do you post? Now, I'm not talking about like what do you want to post, because go ahead, do all that good stuff. But if you want content that people are searching for, that people are loving, that you know is tried and true, then you can do a couple of things. The first is to go to hashtags within your niche, within your industry, and look at the top 9 posts that are trending there. Notice, is it people? Is it faces? Is it how-tos? Is it text-based? Is it video? That's going to tell you what people are looking for that are actually looking within those hashtags. Now, I recently did this for one of my posts, and I went to some content marketing, some social media hashtags, and I had a look at what was trending in the top 9, and I noticed something playing out over and over again. And that was images that were actually just text-based tips, I guess you could say. They were relatively unsophisticated. For somebody like me who really likes design, I value aesthetics. They were pretty ugly, I'm not gonna lie, but it was the content that was compelling people. They were taking something that seemed overwhelming and making it relatively simple. So I did this, and I'll show you that particular post now, and that is still sitting in the Content Marketing 101 hashtag. So feel free to swipe that if you're in my industry and make your own version of it. I felt like I was making a better version of what I saw. I didn't copy anyone's idea. I simply took the concept and overlaid it into the content marketing space that I'm known for, and I made something of high value for my audience, and it shows because it's now trending in that particular hashtag. The other thing that you can do if you're not sure what to post is start to follow your customers. And if you're really, really small or you're just starting, go and follow other influencers or other people in your industry who are producing the type of content that's attracting your client or your customer. Start following their followers so that you can actually see what those people are liking, what they're engaging with, what is lighting them up. And what you'll probably find is that you'll start to see trends. You'll start to see, hey, these guys like quotes. Hey, these guys like funny memes. Hey, these guys like really in-depth personal branding type microblog posts. You're going to actually start to see what to create for yourself. Now, the way to do this is to go to your Instagram page and go to the heart down the bottom, which is your notifications setting. Now, when you click on that, it will probably default to you. So you'll notice that that's highlighted at the top, and that's all of your notifications, which is perfect. You'll notice to the left of it, there is a following tab as well. If you click on that, the people you're following show up, and it shows the things that they like. You might even start to see a particular aesthetic by which you want to start creating your theme. So maybe everyone likes pink, maybe everyone likes blue, maybe everyone likes white. Maybe that's going to help you get a foothold and get started so that you're able to create the content that your audience engages with. Because remember, Instagram is a visual platform, so you need to keep that in mind when you're creating content. You can't have crappy photos, you can't have ugly quotes, you have to make everything beautiful. And we have excellent tools to do those things that are free these days, like Canva and PicMonkey and things like that. So I'm not gonna go into that. But the point is, you can start scrolling through and seeing what your followers actually like, and that's going to help you then go and create that type of content. Now, when we grew that other account that I was talking about from 0 to 10,000, we did not microblog. We did not do what I'm about to talk about, and I want to be transparent about that. But I wanted to add that in here because it's definitely something that is on trend at the moment. And it's just all around storytelling. So when you go to caption something, if you can tell a story, if you can reel your readers in so that they actually want to make it to the end of the post, to see the point, to hear the punchline, you now have their attention, and that can then be followed by a call to action. Now, what does a call to action mean? Well, quite simply, you just ask them to do something, whether it's comment, whether it's like, whatever you decide is your business. But the point is that microblogging, this storytelling, these longer posts are keeping people in your content longer. That sends little flags to Instagram that says, hey, this content is being really enjoyed, so therefore it needs to go out to more people. Microblogging is really interesting because I've told people to do it in industries that I wasn't even sure it would work, and it's garnering the engagement that we're going for. So make sure you give it a go because it's going to increase the engagement on your feed, which is going to push your content further. The more engagement that you get also entices other people to comment on it as well. When there's crickets on your account, when there's no one commenting on your account, people who come along and want to comment get a bit shy and they don't do it. So if you can get engagement through your current followers and it gets pushed out even further, then those new people coming in are going to feel safer to comment on your content. All right, my third step in my 5-step process is now that you have your content, you want to optimize that content. Now, what does that mean? Optimizing that content means giving it the best chance of thriving in the Instagram economy. So there's a couple of things that I want to address here. And the first is hashtags. The most common mistake with hashtags is that people just put really big overarching hashtags because it gets them a little flurry of likes really, really quickly. This is actually what we don't want to do because it's not helpful, it doesn't grow our account in a meaningful way, and more often than not, you're not getting the right ideal client to your account who's going to stick around and actually be meaningful to you down the road. So the first thing you want to do is look at who is your client. Everyone makes the mistake of using hashtags that are in their industry. So social media marketing, content marketing, and that is good. Don't get me wrong, because particularly in my industry, there are people outside of my industry searching for those things because they want help with it. And it's going to be the same in yours. But here's the thing, if my ideal client is a lawyer, wouldn't it make sense for me to also use hashtags that are relevant to lawyers? It's also a really interesting way to stand out, because using that lawyer example, if I use the term hashtag legal tips and I'm showing up there, my content is vastly different to everybody else's, but I have tailored it to a lawyer, wouldn't it make sense for them to then follow me because I am helping them in their business on the platform or whatever my content is actually about? So think about your ideal client. Who are they? What do they love? Who do they support? What hashtags can you think of, can you research that are outside of your industry specifically, and maybe start dabbling in their world a little bit. Get into their minds, start seeing their behavior, and start showing up in their hashtags. The second thing I want to mention here is you need a variety of hashtags. My rule of thumb has always been 50 to 20 small, long tail niche hashtags, and then 5 or so medium-sized ones, and then 5 or so larger ones. Now, depending on the size of your Instagram account is really going to depend on what small, medium, and large mean to you. You have to figure that out for yourself. But if you can start using those niched hashtags, it's a really great place to grow your account from, because people follow those hashtags. They are loyal to those hashtags. They check those hashtags. They want to see if they're ranking on those hashtags. They want to see what the content is that you're putting out on those hashtags. Because the thing is, really big hashtags move really fast, right? So those niche hashtags, they contain loyalty. They contain people who keep checking them back. So I encourage you to find out what your niche hashtags are, and that you've got to have a myriad. But you need to find out what they are and start using them in your posts. So another thing that I want to touch on here is something that I've found lately, and it's very interesting. So pick a hashtag, go into it. So for me, it might be Content Marketing 101, and look at the top 9 and start having a look at what's required to get into the top 9. Do you need 20 likes? Do you need 2,000 likes? Do you need 5,000 views? Do you need 500 views? Once you start actually working that out, you can start researching according to where you think you might be able to show up. And then it gets really interesting. It gets really strategic, and you can start to grow your account because you can start to predict what's going to happen. This takes experimentation. It takes doing what I said in the last step, variety, niche tags, medium tags, large tags, playing around with how many large and medium ones you need to boost up the smaller ones to get you trending. But once you start doing that, the sky is the limit, because there are so many tags that you can go after when you realize what you can actually start trending for. Again, an example of this is the one I showed you earlier, my Content Marketing 101 piece of content. That is still sitting in the top 9, and I posted that over a month ago. If you go into that top 9, there are a couple of other posts in there that have about 100 or so likes and a fair amount of engagement. That post got a whole lot of good engagement for me. It got a lot of saves. It's had about 20 plus saves, which for my little account is great, which also would have added to the algorithm, would have added to the push, and would have added to the trend. But if you go into that hashtag and have a look, you'll see that it doesn't require a heck of a lot to push one of those other posts out in order for you to start trending in there as well. The thing to remember though is that it is an algorithm. There's still an air of mystery to it. There is still a need to experiment. There is still no perfect red button that you can hit that means you'll trend, that means you'll hit the explore page, that means you'll end up in everyone's feed. You still need to do the hard work. You still need to create great content. All right, my second stage of optimization is tagging brands, users, and locations. So you can see here that there's a geotag option for when you go somewhere using the tags that come up for that particular location. That's a really good idea to do. And also within your picture, if you are tagging brands and you are tagging big accounts that might potentially like it, you're opening yourself up to what's called a power like. So what happens is if you have a power like from a big brand, it pushes your content to their followers. So let's say I tag Gary Vaynerchuk in my video because maybe I have a selfie with him. If he likes that picture, the theory is that my content will be pushed to all 5.4 million of his followers. So the power with tagging a brand or tagging an influencer is potentially massive for you. Now the trick here is not to go stupid, not to go crazy, not to do it unnecessarily. However, if you go somewhere, tag the location. If you take a photo with someone, tag them in it. It can also be users that have, a larger influence. It doesn't have to be a 5.4 million follower user. You can have someone who maybe has 10,000 likes. That's going to be a strong indicator to Instagram that someone important is like, this is important content. So it's going to push out. And the other part of optimization is when to post. Now, I have two things I want to talk about here. Now, the first is to use the insights in the actual app itself. If you click on the three lines at the top, and then you go into the Insights button and you click Audience on the right-hand side and you scroll down to the bottom. It gives you the days of the week and you can basically see there when people are online and when they're not. The only problem with this is that it's very broad. So it's in 3-hour increments. You can also download this app called When to Post, and I use those in conjunction. So what I do is I look at when to post. It tells me to the minute when I should be posting because that's the most optimal time. I see if it measures up with my Instagram analytics. So if my Instagram analytics says 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I should be posting, and then When to Post actually says you need to be posting at 10:38 a.m., that makes sense. There's a correlation between this app and between my insights, and therefore I'm going to listen to that particular time and post at that time. All right, we've done optimization, and the fourth step in my 5-step process is engagement. And I know that you probably all have heard you need to engage, and it's true. And we have what I like to call internal engagement and external engagement. So internal engagement just means if anyone posts on any of your stuff, you need to go and like their comment and you need to go and talk to them. Until you are at some ridiculous amount of followers, you need to be replying to every single comment, because that again tells the algorithm that you're having conversations on your feed, that this is important. They need to push this content out. The quicker that you can get to those comments, the better. Respect your audience. You don't have a conversation with someone, say your piece and walk away. Post your stuff, stay there, see who says things and speak to them. Another thing I like to do is go to accounts that are bigger than mine or bigger accounts that are in my space, and I like to look through their comments on their posts and reply to the comments within the post. So let's use Gary Vee again for an example. If I go through his post, he can't possibly get through 20,000 comments, right? He gets through 50. And then I just go through, and if someone's got a question or someone's talking about something, maybe I like their comment, maybe I reply to them. That's a really good way of getting on people's radar that are potentially in your niche. Another thing I'll add in here is if your ideal clients are hitting up brand accounts, logo accounts, go to their accounts and talk to their people, because more often than not, bigger brand accounts unfortunately like to post, but they don't like to engage, and they often don't let their employees do it either because they don't want anyone to say anything wrong, anything that could put them in hot water, and therefore they just outright don't respond. So it's a really great way for you to get on people's radar, answer their questions, and basically just be visible. Okay, my 5th step in this 5-step process to building your Instagram account is retention. Now, this is less of grow your account and rather keep the people that come And I have some really important tips for you because especially when you're in that follow-unfollow stage, you need to have strategy around how to keep the people that come. And the first is I DM, send a voice message, send a video message to people that follow me, especially if they seem legit. There's times where I don't, where it seems like very automated or like very much just like a brand account that has set up a bot to follow me because I use the right hashtag. But for the most part, if it is a person, I send them a video, I send them a voice message, I thank them for following me for starters, and then I also let them know that if they have any questions, they can reach out and ask me. It's a really great way to start up a conversation as well in your DMs, which again adds to that algorithm effect. Speaking to people this way means that you might not lose someone you would have lost purely because you're establishing relationship with them. Another thing I like to stress, especially if you're not posting every single day on your feed, is to have a story running on your Instagram stories when you do actually post. Because what that does is more often than not, when people come and they follow you, they will then look at your story and they will connect with you through your story, and they're more inclined to hit that follow button if they didn't do it in the first place and stay if they did, because you're building rapport, you're building that relationship. And my third tip around retention is your highlights. If you've got your highlights up and running, then it's a really great way, again, of retaining people because they have things to look at. They have older content that they can peruse through that has video, that has your voice, that has your eye contact, that might have testimonials. A really good thing that you can do is have an about me highlight as well so that they can get to know you a little bit more. But just make sure that you have something there for them to connect with to encourage them to stay. So my quick recap of my 5-step process is setup, content, optimization, engagement, and retention. Guys, there is so much more to Instagram that one cannot possibly do a whole video on it. There are things that I haven't talked about like quality of content, consistency, Instagram stories, the actual hashtag research. There is so much more. So what I've done is put something together for you here, which you can find in the description below, where I go through everything for you in more depth. You are going to be safe and sound if you download that and start applying that to your Instagram account today. And don't forget, guys, if you love this video, let me know, like it, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the bell notification so that you can get my new video every time it drops every single Wednesday. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.